everyone to the third roundtable of the series Generative AI and Law series. So my speakers are arriving. I'm lucky, otherwise I will be doing a lot of small talk today. So welcome Manu, welcome Tom. Again, so I was welcoming everyone. I'm Alejandro Pérez, and I'm going to be the moderator, your host today for this third roundtable on generative AI and law. And today we are focusing on the impact on law firms. So the expectations are pretty high. So you know already basically the trick. My recap is to give you in 5 minutes a quick overview of what we have seen so far and what we are going to see today. So as I mentioned, this is the third roundtable. The first one a couple of weeks ago. We have a general introduction to generative AI and the impact on law, on the law practice in general. And as you probably were aware, many of you, I'm sure, were participating on that one. There were so many open questions that we have been trying also to develop those answers in the following roundtables. The second one was pretty technical, we might say. We saw how to enrich the data, or how to put the data in order to be able actually to benefit from generative AI technologies. It's not that we can apply this if our house is a mess. And so that was basically the foundation of the second roundtable, the concept of you know how we were curating our garden, as always was saying. Today we take a step further. We are, I'm sure, very curious about to see what Tom and Manu has to show us, because it's time to start digging into real applications for law firms. We have heard a lot about, obviously, the impact on business of law and the practice of law. We know that this technology, the main difference with the previous artificial intelligence waves is that our previous artificial intelligence waves or products were pretty focused, were narrow, were solving a particular issue. Maybe we know many solutions on document review, for instance, but that product was dedicated to something very specific, and we couldn't ask anything else. The impact on generative AI is extremely broad, and it has an impact on all the verticals, on document review, on document drafting, on summarization, classification, on and not only on Q&As, plus we know all the impact already on how we can also draft answers to emails, how we can translate documents, etc. So if we know and we understand that impact, actually it's time to start putting our head of professionals and that world that we have seen as consumers. Let's see how our applications, like professional applications, business applications, or enterprise applications, like the ones we are going to see today. You know also that the idea of these roundtables is to leave each speaker the time and the focus to show us with enough time and their solutions. So the idea for today is that after these brief introductions, we are going to hear from Tom Martin, CEO and co-founder of Lawdroid. We are going to hear about the first applications. I think they are in public beta, so it's a privilege to be here watching or having access to these applications firsthand. Then we are going to do the same with Manu. Manu Mateo part of the research and development team in Lefebvre, and is going to take us further, we might say, also to discuss. I think they are still in research, these applications around drafting and research. You know the trick also, please, that's the idea, that we focus on these two presentations, but the audience, please, shoot and ask as many questions as possible. Obviously, it helps not only the speakers, it helps me as a moderator. So we do expect a lot of questions. Please interrupt, and I will try to moderate those questions as they arrive. That's all for me. Welcome everyone again. Tom, please.
Thank you, Alejandro. And I'm really privileged to share the stage with Manu, and really excited to be invited by Global Legal Tech Hub to be here. This is a fascinating subject. I'm a big fan of it, obviously, because I founded this company, Lawdroid, 7 years ago, when chatbots were starting to be a point of interest. And it's only grown with time that they become more and more intelligent. As we all know, in November, with OpenAI dropping ChatGPT, it just opened all of our eyes, I think I'm safe to say, as to the possibilities of what generative AI could do. And although there was limited applications of AI previously, like natural language processing, it didn't really enable it to talk back to us intelligently. So that was a revolution. So 7 years ago, we started Lawdroid with a focus on chatbots, and I want to show you a little bit of what we've done. I should point out that we have developed an AI legal assistant that we launched in January. It's currently in a public beta, and we've signed on 500 paying customers at this point, and we're going to release it, the full feature set, to everyone and take it out of beta in September. But in the meantime, let me just show you what we're up to. Okay, can you see my screen? AI tools that give you superpowers? Great. So first I want to just jump over here. Actually, our tools being used at a number of universities across the United States and Canada. This Builder here, we actually have two products. Builder is a no-code chatbot builder. Okay, and so I'm pointing this out because this is how we got started 3 years ago. We built a platform where you could build chatbots without having to code. As you can see here, it's like a flowchart, right? And if you just logically put together the different subjects of what the chatbot would say, you could easily create a conversation that can be automated just by dragging and dropping it, kind of like you would in WordPress. And as you can see, we even made it kind of look like WordPress because we wanted it to have that kind of ease of use. So you don't have to learn JavaScript or anything like that. I point this out because we built our AI legal assistant using this system that you're looking at right now, Lawdroid Builder. And so this system, Copilot, is an example of the kind of AI legal assistant or AI assistant that you could build using our system. In this case, this is what Copilot looks like when you log in. And so we tackle 3 different issues that lawyers are concerned about, rightly so. The first one being privacy and security. Everyone's concerned about that, and for good reason. What we handle sensitive information as lawyers. Myself am a lawyer with 25 years of experience, so I come to this as both a lawyer and a technologist. So privacy and security, because we use the API that OpenAI makes available, they don't use any information that comes through its API for training purposes. So you don't have to worry about some third party logging into ChatGPT and getting your, private confidential client information. That's not going to happen. They don't use it for training. That's number one. Number two is, rightly so, lawyers have a concern about hallucinations. We've seen that ridiculous case in New York where, you know, that attorney is getting in trouble for filing a case, filing a motion with a bunch of cases that were made up. And so as lawyers, we don't want the technology to be making up cases. How do we solve that? Well, we solved it, for example, here on this first function, case law research, by connecting our system to the Harvard Case Law Project, which has close to 7 million US federal and state cases. So when you connect this technology to a source of truth, it does an incredibly good job of providing reliable and accurate information. Okay, if you use just ChatGPT, which is the one that's creating the problems, it uses its generalized training, and it comes up with false cases sometimes. So you want to work with a vendor that's connected to a database or source of truth where it's drawing reliable information. That's where it becomes like having a superpower, because you can access 7 million cases very, very quickly. All right. So that hallucination problem we've minimized and eliminated in some cases. Now, the third concern is most lawyers, they didn't go to law school to become prompt engineers. They don't want to figure out how to write the prompt that you put into ChatGPT. They just want it to work. And so the way we tackled that is we reduced the prompts to these different buttons that you could see here. So if you want to correct grammar, you can click on that, paste in what you want to check, it'll check it. Summarize, you paste in what you want to summarize, and it will summarize that. We've also left open, here you see free-form prompt. That's where you could use the ChatGPT approach, and you could actually type in whatever you want to, if you still want to do it that way. But these buttons are extremely time-saving, and we even have one for emotional support. So if you're working late at night in the office and there's no one else to talk to, that might be a way of just, keeping your spirits up if you're working too hard, and actually having a conversation with the chatbot. It's not a person, but it's somebody to talk to. And actually, some lawyers have told me that they actually prefer it because they don't feel like they're being judged. Where if they pop their head in to talk to a partner to say, hey, this is really hard, you probably don't want to be admitting that. Let me show you a couple of functions. This one here is where you can upload a document. This is where you can upload a document into our system, and then you can ask questions about that document. So the document I'm using here is the California Rules of Professional Conduct. It's all of the ethics rules for a lawyer in California. It's, as you'll see here, 72 pages long, so it's a lot of information. And it would take any one of us quite a bit of time to take that in. What you're seeing here is that within our system, you can create what we call a knowledge base. And the knowledge base is simply uploading the document, like the California Rules of Professional Conduct. You give the knowledge base a name. When you hit save, it uploads that document into our system. It embeds it in a vector database, which I won't go into the details of that, but it makes it available to the computer to understand. And then here I'm showing we've created a very simple chatbot where you could ask questions about that document. And this is what it looks like behind the scenes. The first one, the message, is where that's the outgoing message to the person using the chatbot. Hey, ask me a question about these rules. The second one here that you see being selected, select knowledge base. You select the knowledge base that you want to ask questions about. It's just a drop-down menu, and you select that one. And then the last piece you see below is the prompt. And so that prompt is very important because that's where you're telling OpenAI how you want to use this knowledge base. You want it to be very specific, only draw answers from that information, not anything else. And if it's not within this document, say, I don't know, don't make stuff up. And so once you program the AI in that way, then you can ask it a question. And again, just to be clear, it has to read through the 72 pages very quickly to get the answer. And the question is it okay for a non-lawyer to share fees with a lawyer? In the US, that's a no-no. And here you can see that, the answer is accurate. It's not okay to share fees between a lawyer and a non-lawyer, but there are limited circumstances that might be okay. That's, like let's say the lawyer dies and their, spouse is inheriting the law practice. That would be okay to share some of that compensation. So not only does it give the general rule, but it also gives the exception to the rule. And even more important for lawyers, it says where it got that answer. It got it from Rule 5.4. So you can check your information and know that it's accurate. Let me show you one other example.
And while you're doing that, switching documents, so can I upload one document? Can I upload many documents? So the Q&A is on several documents, or is just one by one?
So I'm glad you asked that question, because just now, our engineers are creating it so that you can create collections of documents. Up till this point, it's been one document at a time. So you could kind of get around it by putting bunches of documents together and making one really long document. But now we've made it so you could upload a whole bunch of different documents and create a collection, and it would logically search across all of those documents.
Thanks.
Yeah. So the other example I want to show you is our case law research. So in that, here you can search for case law using natural language. So it's not a Boolean search, it's not logical operators. You just ask it something like, show me cases involving child custody where the parent has stopped paying child support in California. So you give it a few keywords, you give it the jurisdiction, and then it does the search very quickly across those 7 million cases that I mentioned. And so you get a list of cases, just like you would from LexisNexis or Westlaw or vLex or any other information provider. And you can see the previews of the cases like here, which will show you like, how's this keyword coming up? Is this a relevant case? Should I learn more about this case? And all of that, that's not mind-blowing. That's not AI. It is AI that we're using AI to create those previews, the summaries. But that's not that impressive. This, you could read the case, of course, that's not AI either. Where it gets interesting is this, briefing a case. So one thing you learn in law school in the United States is when you read a case, you need to brief it, you need to outline it. So here's the factual summary, here's the holding of the case, the rule of law, how the judge applied it in this case. That's important to do so that you could better understand the case. Here, what we're doing, and this is why also a lot of law students love this tool, and why we've gotten a lot of users from law schools across the country, is that it quickly reads that case. It ingests the case, it reads it, and then we have prompts that ask questions to create the outline. And so you'll see that in action here right now. So it analyzes the case, and it creates a factual summary. What's the procedural history, like what happened in the courts before it came up for appeal? It describes that history. The legal issues that are involved in the case, the rule of law that was applied by the judge, the holding or what the court's ultimate decision was in the case, and the reasoning, which is where the judge applies the rule of law to the facts, and you can see the line of reasoning of how the judge came to that conclusion. Once it's done that, you could also ask follow-up questions about the case. Like it didn't mention who the judge was that wrote the case, wrote the opinion, and you can ask a follow-up question like that and get that answered. So it's like having a conversation with a colleague or a law clerk where you can just ask what you want. You could even ask it to create a bullet pointed list of like the key findings of the case. So it's a much different and quicker way of learning the law and applying it. And all of the different functions that we have, that's the whole point, is to make it as easy as possible to get your work done during the day, drafting emails and letters, brainstorming content if you write blogs to market your law firm. And all of these together is to make you more productive and actually more profitable, because if you can do the same amount of work that you would take 8 hours to do in 4 and go home, why not? You still make the same amount of money, but you spend a lot less time doing it. So that's really the promise, I think, with generative AI, and that's the practical application. This is just 2 of them that I've shown you, but there are a lot of practical applications of generative AI, where not only can it generate text, like generating an email or letter, but it also does a good job of analyzing, like extracting information from documents, like we saw in the case briefing, or like we saw where you could ask questions about any document. So instead of having to read it, you could just have the computer do the hard work, and you just read the bullet points and understand it quickly. So I think I'll leave it at that, but I appreciate being here and getting to share this with you.
Thanks, and there are so many questions, so I will have to choose a couple before going to Manu and eventually coming back to you, Tom. So 2 quick questions. They are very similar about the source of truth, as you said. So we are curious, when you said, okay, you pointed to Harvard, the case law database of 7 million. Could you point it to any public databases of cases? What's your thought?
Yes. The trick is that it's publicly available. As you know, in the US, we've had a history of those things being kind of locked up and unavailable to the general public. But thankfully, Harvard put this repository together with all US case law. But yeah, it could be anything else. It could be case statutes, the code. It could be IRS regulations and opinion letters. Anything like that, we can and will add eventually to our system. It's just a matter of time.
Okay, so that's the source. So you can actually use other source. And the second, so can you use your own data, the law firms, like going back also to what happened, the discussion on the previous roundtable. So more than one document, more than a collection of documents, can you point it to your document management system?
Yeah, and that's what I'm so excited about, because we have 500 users right now, and we get feedback, like that's what we're doing through the beta to learn more about what they want. And the #1 requested feature is the ability for them to upload their own documents and ask questions about it. So we just are right now about to launch the ability to upload multiple documents, to create a collection of documents, and then be able to ask questions across tens to hundreds of documents. And one use case that's very exciting is to upload these documents. Like, let's say there's an example of one kind of motion, a motion for summary judgment, for example, and you feed it, let's say 10 that you've done in the past, and then you ask it to write a new motion for summary judgment based upon those 10, and that you need it to argue certain, these 3 different legal issues. And so that it could draw from your own work product to create a new draft. And so that would really accelerate the ability to get out of the office sooner.
Excellent. That's excellent. There are many questions around the same. So the expectation is our own data, because you are giving that privacy and confidentiality, as you mentioned. Obviously, otherwise that's impossible and very risky. The last one, I'm curious about languages, obviously, because if global legal tech is global. So does it work in other languages?
So currently, because we're beta testing it within North America, well, more specifically in the US and Canada, it's English. However, you might have you might have seen that one of the buttons on there was translation. And we currently are deployed to translate across 6 languages, Spanish, Italian, French, and we also have Chinese, Japanese, Korean. So there's a number of languages that this AI is actually incredibly good at instantaneously translating against. So we do have plans in the future to use this translation so that a user could simply select whatever language they want our interface to appear in and to talk with them in, and they could just select that language and be able to communicate.
Fantastic, very exciting. Thanks a lot. I need to switch by now.
Thank you.
Manu, it's the floor is yours. Please amaze us about the drafting and research capabilities.
Okay, thanks a lot, Alejandro. And I would like, before starting, just thanks a lot to all the global Legaltech Hub team. That I think you're doing an amazing job organizing all these events. And also it's really a pleasure to share the floor with Tom and to see what they are already developing. So I'm gonna share my screen, and I think that you can see my screen now. Perfect. I'm gonna, as Alejandro said at the beginning, I'm going to present to you a couple of POCs that we are currently working on. One, it's being developed by the Lefebvre Spanish team here in Madrid. And this one, it's very close, very related to the research product that we currently have. So one of the main products that we have in our company, in Lefebvre, it's a legal knowledge database with millions of documents of every kind of documents. We are talking about jurisprudence, legislation, and especially doctrine contents, author contents that provide a very great view of every legal issue. So what are we trying to do? We are discovering that indeed we are not improving the search functionalities. We are changing the way, completely the way with all the generative AI functionalities. We are changing the way that you can really interact and work with those contents. So let's go for a couple of examples. I will do them in Spanish. As for this POC, we are working with the Spanish contents. I will try to translate what we are going to ask. So, okay, we are asking if can I lose my job if I don't go to work without any kind of justification. So let's go for this problem, for this issue of the client, of the lawyer. So while making the search, the query, and providing all the generative AI functionalities that we are going to see, I also would like to remark what Tom said at the beginning. Here, we are not making any query outside our contents. So all the interaction with the generative AI, all the contents that we are creating are based on trustable documents. I mean, all the documents from our company are updated, all the author contents are updated. So all the generative AI, it's working exclusively on those contents. So that's the way we are avoiding those kind of hallucinations that everybody knows about them. Okay, so once we have asked for this first short query, we've got a very concrete answer about this problem. Yeah, if you don't go to work without any kind of justification, you can be fired. And after that, we have a lot of different tasks, different already generated prompts. So we can keep working and we can keep creating new answers based on our problems. So for example, I want to have a summary including references. So what we are going to provide to the user is a deeper, a longer text, including all the different kind of references that you can check later with the Lefebvre contents, with the jurisprudence, with the doctrine, which is this answer comes from how it has been created at the end. we can not only have like an extended summary, we can also try to find, okay, create me some different, okay, this is the POC sometimes doesn't really work properly. So let's try to chart again the website. That sounds of making a live demo. It's part of the funny things of making live demo with the POC. But as you will see now, we are going to ask for another different kind of elements. So now I want to have arguments based on mementos contents. Mementos contents for those non-Spanish lawyers or attendees are authors contents with a very special kind of methodology. So what I have requested here is to provide me arguments based on those contents that can be against and forced about my question. So, oh yeah, you can get out of your work, and there are some reasons that will allow you to do that, and also there are against some arguments. And here you will see where this is the mementos contents, the Lefebvre contents, the author contents, and here you will see where concretely the answer has been created for. So that answer that has been provided with all the generative AI technology indeed comes from this author content. So that's really the way we are providing, I mean, really confidence to the user whenever he really needs to know where the document or the answer or the text has been created. Okay, let's go for another example. I will try to go for a more for a more complex example. So let's try to write here, for example, okay, during the weekend, one of the employees with his work computer has access to a colleague email and has started reading the email that were identified as personal. Can we fire this employee? Okay, so again, the process will be exactly the same. We are making search on our contents, and based on those results, we are now providing generative AI functionalities to create a very precise answer at the beginning, very short, but really going to the question. And after that, we can have different ways to interact. For example, I want to have the conclusions. Create me a table with all the different conclusions. So here I will have the case. Okay, if it was just a particular use of the tools and with the computer provided by the company and so on. So this will be the conclusion. And again, we want to provide that kind of confidence to our users. So we provide all the different part of the legal documents that will provide him more information, even more links to all the jurisprudence or all the legislation that in this case those documents refers. We can also, for example, ask about, okay, just provide me some advices, because okay, I'm a company, I'm the employer, so provide me some advices so I can take them into consideration from my point of view as the employer. So here do we have, in this case, again, a text that is generated with generative AI, with GPT, and again taking as a base all our documents. So here we are creating a completely new answer to the user. And finally, just one last example that I would like to provide you here for this POC, and we are very happy with this kind of also of examples that we are discovering while talking with a lot of lawyers and testers that we are having, is that okay, we are also, as I said at the beginning, we are trying to change a bit the rule, and this is not gonna be anymore a database. It can also be a tool to keep learning and to have a kind of training for the lawyers. Because here, okay, which is the difference between the crime of sedition and the embezzlement. Okay, so maybe I'm a lawyer, but I don't really know which is the difference of these two types of crimes. So I can use this generative AI tool to keep learning about it, because okay, yeah, it's gonna provide me again the first part, a very short answer with the differences. But for example, I can also ask to have, okay, provide me some questions, so I can keep having some reasoning, and I can have, okay, let's refresh again the page. Sorry about that. It will be quickly. But as I was saying, you can also interact with all the GenAI tool to keep learning about a concrete topic or a concrete legal issue that you are not really used to work with, maybe with that topic or with that matter. And also here, for example, you can start, okay, provide me some different questions about this topic, so I can go deeper into to know the difference between these two types of crimes. So here, okay, how many you have? Generative AI has created new questions and also has provided me the answer to those questions, again based on the Lefebvre content. So here, this is the way you can also keep learning. And maybe if it's a very technical topic and you are not really used to that one, okay, you can even have what we call a very plain explanation, so in a very not so technical language, not so legal language, so you can have, like a kind of better understanding with a more colloquial language, also especially for those very technical topics that are maybe not of the main topic that you are used to work with. Okay, here you can also use those kind of topics. So as you have seen, yeah, we want to really completely change the way user interacts with the databases. So it's not like going anymore to just write a query and start navigating through all the results from jurisprudence or legislation. Here, you start creating your own content, your own documents based on your real needs about the topic you are trying to solve. Sometimes you will want to have a summary with references. Sometimes you would like to have a report, or sometimes you would like to have that schema with all the conclusions. So that's the way we are implementing the generative AI functionalities here in this kind of research product with those millions of documents. So this is the first part I wanted to show you. And the other one, it's a kind of copilot. It's more a writing assistant tool that it's being developed at the R&D team of the group, of the Lefebvre Sarrut group for all the Europe. We are developing this new kind of product also, that it's going to allow us to make some different kind of interaction of questions. And for example, I will go again. Okay, this is this part I will have to manage in French, as at the moment we are just working with French documents. But okay, I will try to translate a bit what we have just requested here. Whoops, sorry about that. Okay, so while it's start creating the query here, what we have asked is about, okay, whatever the reason for the termination, the decision is made, and I want to terminate with my mutual health insurance contract, but I don't know if I have the right to do that, and I would like to proceed to terminate this contract. What kind of letter should I send? How long should I wait? So here again, what we are doing, it's taking into account our Lefebvre documents, the Dalloz documents, mementos, jurisprudence, all the documents we are also making a query on those documents, and based on those documents, we are again using generative AI to create like a kind of assistant, of writing assistant, to provide some, in this case, some advices to my customer about how to proceed whenever he wants to finish with his mutual insurance. And again, as we really consider that it's really a must to give confidence to the user, we provide him, okay, we'll stop writing. We provide him here the full document, in this case, a guide of family contract insurance, where the answer created by Gen AI has been taken from. So here is the way that at the end the user can really trust in this kind of generative documents that are created. I will go also for a short example, because we can also use this writing assistant tool, for example, to write a contract. Okay, so here what we want to do, it's okay, I'm gonna translate it a bit. So I want to write a template of a mortgage agreement between individuals. Okay, so again, based on the query here, again, the copilot is searching, is taking into account our contents, and based on our contents, it has started to create, in this case, the model of a mortgage contract. Here, as also Tom said at the beginning, it's really important to not to make or to use GPT with all the internet documents, because you are not really sure if they are updated or not. But when you are working with updated document, with trusted documents, I mean, you can really have a really precise answer. And again, here you can have the original document that has been taken into account from for Copilot. Just a couple of final examples that I'm going to present that are here in this same talk. They are not related to writing a query. They are related, for example, to analyze a document. Okay, I'm going to upload here a document. Okay, in this case, I have just uploaded a clause. I mean, it's related to the time of labor of a labor contract. Okay, here we have included a great mistake on purpose. Okay, we have said here that okay, the employee will work 85 hours. Okay, and here we can have different also different tasks, concrete tasks that can be created even by the user. For example, I want to check or to close to check this clause to validate if it's from a legal point of view, if it's okay or not. Okay, and again, based on the text on the document that I have just uploaded, okay, again, the Copilot will search about all the different documents and will create the answer, and will say me, okay, you included here 85 hours, but I mean the maximum hours that the law allows, it's 48. So here again, I will have where the law says that the maximum is 48 hours. So here, in a very quick way, I can really make sure that my clause or my contract it's okay. I can have, for example, I can take here a document coming from a court. Okay, this is just part of the argumentation of a tribunal, of a court in France. And here I will ask for another kind of task to write me the argument of this document. It's not really a summary. It goes beyond, because what it's really doing is not just making a summary. It's trying to create a reasoning argument about what, in this case, the tribunal, the court, has said. And again, it will be include some references about the decision taken by the court. Okay, so again, you will see, you can see how the answer is being created again with all the different contents and how it's analyzing all the documents. And finally, I don't want to take more time because I guess maybe it could be interesting also to have later some questions at the end. I'm gonna go for a final example, taking a full Supreme Court decision. Okay, this is a Supreme Court of France of the decision. So here you will have the facts, also the legal reasoning coming from the court. And in this case, what we are going, one of the different tasks that we are testing is to, okay, provide me some arguments for and against about this concrete sentence. Okay, so again, we are working, reading the document, trying to convert it into a legal query, so we can try to find real legal documents, good documents from our database, from the law, from Lefebvre. So we can now create different arguments that are in favor of this decision coming from the court. And also it will create later some arguments that are against this decision coming from the court. Okay, so you will see that here it has starting to create 3 arguments that are in favor of the decision of the court, of the tribunal. And here it's providing me again some arguments that are against the decision taken by the court. Okay, there are really more examples that we can keep presenting and testing. And what's really amazing, especially for us, and really exciting, is that as much example as we create, as much as we talk with our customer, a lot of ideas came to us. So wow, that's really exciting for us, especially for our company to work on this generative AI tool. So okay, that's all from my side. Okay, just one last thing is just to offer any one of the attendees who really want to test any of those tools, taking into account that they are just working with Spanish legal documents and with French legal documents. But if any one of you it's really willing to be one of our testers, just okay, contact me and we will have a meeting and so on. So that will be also great for us to keep having feedback from you.
That's excellent. Thanks so much to both of you. Before starting with the questions, thanks so much to both of you, because I've been a product manager myself when I was young. It's so generous what you just made, openly showing what is working, what is sometimes not even working very precisely, the roadmaps, etc. I see that you are going to have a very busy summer, I might say, because while I'm going to be on vacations, I see your future very busy between July and August, launching all these products. The expectations are huge. So thanks a lot. So some quick questions. There are so many. I start choosing some. So let's start with this one. Maybe Tom, you can start, but Manu, I think it's also for you. You see the impact of your product more on small law firms, medium law firms, big law firms, and even in which practice do you see that they should be having more benefits?
Yeah. First off, Manu, that demo was amazing. I'm like, wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, but yeah. So with Lawdroid, it's mostly solo, small, and medium firms that we're attracting, just because that's kind of the firms we've worked with in the past, and our pricing kind of lends itself to that. We're entirely bootstrapped. We haven't taken venture capital, so we can keep prices low. But in terms of who this would impact, everyone. I think the ones that it would be most useful for right now would be people working in litigation, like Manu was showing. You know, if you're writing briefs, or even in-house, if you're writing, a lot of motions or memos, right? It would be extremely useful. In some cases, it might even minimize, not eliminate, but it might make a lot less work for junior law clerks, because you could get a memo written just like that by asking the question. So I think mostly like for litigation and contract work right now, it would be the most impact.
Excellent, thanks. Manu, those two products, are you addressing which markets?
Yeah, okay, so at the beginning, we also thought that maybe the legal market, especially as Tom said perfectly, the litigation should be the best target. But what we are discovering is that there are a lot of different tags that can really fit perfectly to companies. I mean, to legal departments of the companies, or human resources departments of the companies, as they also have to deal with a lot of regulation, with a lot of documents that they have to create. And sometimes what's really interesting in one of the examples that I presented is that at companies, they are not, in some cases, they are not very, I mean, how I would say it, they don't have a very deep knowledge about rules or legislation. Let's think about human resources that, okay, yeah, they can be very, very professional especially for labor law, but maybe they are not so on some other very related topics, as maybe could be tax related to some topics of an employee. So that's really something that we are at this moment in this phase of testing with customer, discovering which kind of the different tasks, the different prompts that we are providing could fit better for a company, for a lawyer, and also for advisors. They also have to deal a lot with public administration and write documents and trying to find, especially tax and labor advisors. They have to also to deal a lot of with legal documents, contents, and providing solution to their customers. So I could say that at the moment, we are not really focused just on one market. We want to test all of them, as we see that it could fit all companies, advisors, and lawyers.
Fantastic, thanks a lot. Going back to Tom, there were many questions still on the capacity to upload their own data. Okay, so for instance, and there was one concept about context. We know that there is a limit number of tokens we can upload, especially for Q&A capacities or summarization. Can you explain us a little bit? Most probably the person asking that question is very technical. Can you give us an explanation about the context? How big can be that context?
Yeah, so what they're referring to is that there's a context window with OpenAI's different models, and how large the window is different with different models. 3.5 and 4 have just actually recently increased the size of those context windows. So I think 3.5 was something like the equivalent of 3 to 4 pages, and now it's like 16 pages of information that you could submit at one time. Now, if you're using the ChatGPT consumer interface that you're paying for, $20 a month, that means you could paste in, let's say, 16 pages worth of stuff and then ask it questions about that, right? But when you use a vendor like us, like Lawdroid or Manu's company, we're building on top of that technology. We're not using ChatGPT, we're building on top of it. So what we do is we make it even more efficient. We store all of your documents in a vector database. And what we do is, instead of pasting the whole document, we run a very quick search across that database that finds only the relevant pieces from that information. And it draws over only the relevant portions and puts that into the context window. So effectively, we can shove a lot more information that's relevant into that context window. And that's how we get around that limitation. The limitation is still there, but because we're only providing the relevant portions, we make it more effective and useful.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's exactly the same approach that we have. I mean, I think that Tom explained it perfectly. And in this case, what really it's also an added value part of the developments that I think that both of are doing is the search engine, because that's one of the key pieces also to be able just to really identify, as Tom perfectly said, which is really the most relevant part of the document, just to be able to take as much relevant part as possible.
Excellent. Some final considerations, because we only have 3 more minutes. You both mentioned, because I'm thinking already in the next table, access to justice, and you are both actually talking about access to justice when you are simplifying, let's say, queries and the answers. You are providing already answer in a very simple way. The feature that Manu presenting on, even you are providing the text to the final client, to the corporation. This is what is the impact of this legislation on you, my client. Can you elaborate a little bit about how you see, not only for law firms then, the impact on the access of justice, on the impact on the law in general? Maybe we can start with Manu or this time.
Okay. Yeah, I think that yeah, GPT and all these kind of technologies is gonna change everything, especially because I think that one of the most important thing is that some of those kind of let's say standard functionalities coming from GPT that are not only the possibility to translate it in different languages, but also the possibility to translate or to adapt the answer or the document to your level of knowledge. I mean, if you really, as also one of the examples was, okay, I'm not really an expert on this topic, can you explain me with? So that's really amazing to be able to provide. I was also making a very funny example the other day that, okay, I'm an 80-year-old man. I don't know anything about the law. Can you explain me which is the difference between 2 kinds of crimes? Delito and hurto, I mean, robo and hurto in Spanish. So it started to provide me an example that, okay, if you go to a supermarket and you take an apple, and if you hit an employee of the supermarket, so that was really amazing, because wow, even for my mother, I mean, that she would understand that example. So I think that's gonna be really amazing in terms to be able to extend all the access to the justice to everyone.
Thanks a lot.
I think, yeah, no, it's going to have an amazing impact, because I know firsthand we're actually working with several legal aid organizations right now in the United States to build out this kind of solution. I just got back from Florida, where I was meeting with a legal aid organization there, and the use case that is extremely attractive to them is that you take all of the information that these legal aid organizations have accumulated over decades, right? It's stuck in their website. It's in different formats too. It's web pages, it's PDF documents, it's old PowerPoints. They have all of this stuff that people over the years have put together to teach the public about their legal rights. The problem is it's hard to find. You put the burden on the public to try to figure out how to get to that answer, right? So our value proposition to them is, we'll take all of that information, we'll put it into our AI, and then the member of the public can come to your website on the first page, just ask the question, and then they get the answer. They don't have to look everywhere for it. But you could also say, and if you need more help, here are legal aid attorneys that can help you, right? So yeah, we're working with several right now, and I can tell you it's only going to make it quicker and easier and more affordable for people to get legal help.
Fantastic. Completely agree. Thanks so much to both of you. We are by the arriving to 8 p.m. here in Milan. time to go dinner, at least for me, not for Tom, that probably is going to have a coffee now. Thanks again. And really looking forward to see everyone on next session, Access to Justice, and maybe the speakers in Global Legal Tech Hub Day in Madrid at the end of October. Thanks a lot. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.